My dad died on a Tuesday. Not the kind of Tuesday you forget, the kind that turns every sound in the world quieter, like even the air knows someone important is gone. At the funeral, strangers told me my father was a legend. Old friends hugged me too long. Coworkers called me strong, but I barely heard any of it, because my stepmother, Vanessa, didn't look like a widow. She looked like a woman who just won a war. Black dress, perfect hair, soft tears that appeared at the exact right moments. If grief was a performance, she deserved an Oscar. My older brother Ryan stayed close to her, acting like her bodyguard. My younger sister Lena wouldn't even meet my eyes. Like the moment Dad died, I stopped being family. 3 days later, we gathered in a downtown law office for the will reading. The room smelled like expensive leather chairs and cold coffee. My father's framed picture sat on a side table like a witness who couldn't speak. The attorney, Mr. Caldwell, cleared his throat. "Let's begin reading the last will and testament of Thomas Whitmore." I swallowed hard. Dad always promised fairness, especially after he remarried. He'd said it more than once, "I love you all, nobody gets left behind." So I expected something balanced, but the words that followed felt like someone kicked the floor out from under me. "The house located at," Caldwell began, "is left entirely to Vanessa Whitmore." Ryan smirked. "The company shares," Caldwell continued, "are transferred to Vanessa Whitmore." Lena let out a tiny laugh, like she couldn't help herself. "The investment accounts, the vehicle collection, all personal assets." Every line ended the same way: Vanessa, Vanessa, Vanessa. My hands went numb. Then Caldwell paused and glanced at me. "And to his eldest child, Evan Whitmore, he leaves a single item." I leaned forward. "A watch." Silence filled the room like smoke. "That's it?" I whispered. Ryan leaned back like a king on his throne. "Wow," he said with fake surprise. "Dad really meant it." Vanessa pressed her fingers to her chest. "Evan, sweetheart, your father wanted peace. You have your own life. You'll understand one day." Peace. That word always comes right after betrayal. Caldwell handed me the watch. Old leather strap, scratched metal. Dad wore it every Sunday. It still smelled like him. Ryan tilted his head, eyes cold. "Guess Dad finally saw who you really are," he said. Something cracked inside me, but I kept my face calm. I walked out of that office with nothing except a watch and a burning question. Why would my father erase me? That night, I sat in my apartment with the watch in my palm, replaying every memory. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Don't trust the will. Check the watch." My heartbeat stopped. I flipped the watch over. There was a faint engraving I'd never noticed before. One letter. S.
The next morning, I drove to my father's house. I still called it that, Dad's house, even though the will had basically crowned Vanessa queen of everything inside it. The driveway looked normal. Same oak tree, same mailbox. But the moment I stepped through the front door, I knew something had changed. The smell was different. Not Dad's usual cedar and coffee. Now it was lavender candles and expensive perfume. My father's home had been rewritten overnight. Vanessa met me in the foyer like she'd been waiting. "Evan," she said, voice soft, almost sweet, "you should have called first. I'm here to talk about the will." Ryan appeared behind her, holding a mug like he owned the place. He smiled the way bullies do right before they swing. "What's there to talk about?" he asked. "Dad made his choice." "I want to know when," I said. Vanessa tilted her head. "A month before he passed, he wanted everything clear. No drama." No drama. That was rich coming from a woman who treated my father's funeral like a media event. I stepped into the living room. My stomach tightened. The photos were rearranged. My college graduation picture with Dad was gone. The fishing trip photo, Dad and me laughing, gone. But in their place was a brand new framed portrait. Vanessa in the middle, Ryan on one side, Lena on the other. A perfect little family. Vanessa noticed me staring. Oh, I just wanted the home to reflect who's here now. I felt heat rise in my chest. Where are Dad's things? I asked. Packed up, Vanessa said casually. He doesn't need clutter. I turned toward the hallway that led to Dad's study. Ryan stepped in front of me. No, he said. That one word was louder than a scream. I locked eyes with him. What are you hiding? Ryan leaned closer. You're not touching anything. You got your little watch. Take it and go. Vanessa placed a hand on his arm like she was calming him, but she was really controlling him. Then she looked at me with pity, fake pity. Evan, you've always been intense. Your father couldn't handle it anymore. I laughed once, bitter. My father loved me. Vanessa's smile didn't move, but her eyes went sharp. He loved peace more. I turned and walked out before I said something that would make me look like the villain in her story. In my car, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Stop going there. She's watching. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. She's watching. Vanessa wasn't just stealing money. She was monitoring me like a threat. And that meant the watch wasn't a gift. It was a warning. I stared at the engraving again. S. I only knew one person my father trusted with secrets, Samuel Ortega.
Samuel Ortega's office wasn't downtown. It was in a dusty strip mall between a nail salon and a pawn shop. The sign on the door looked old enough to vote. When I walked in, the receptionist looked nervous. "I need to see Samuel Ortega," I said. She asked for my name. When I said Whittemore, her face drained like she'd seen a ghost. She disappeared into the back. A minute later, Samuel stepped out. He looked older, thinner, exhausted. His eyes went wide when he saw me. "Evan?" "I need answers," I said. Samuel didn't argue. He waved me in fast and locked the door behind us. That lock clicking felt like the start of a different life. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I tried to stop her." "Stop who?" I asked, even though I already knew. Samuel pulled out a folder. His hand shook like he was handling poison. Inside were copies of paperwork, bank forms, beneficiary changes, company signature authorizations. Then I saw the worst one. A beneficiary change form dated 6 weeks ago, while Dad was hospitalized. The signature looked like Dad's, but it was wrong. The letters were shaky, forced. "This is forged," I said. Samuel swallowed hard. "Yes." My chest tightened. "How?" Samuel looked away. "She came with Ryan and Lena. They signed as witnesses. She said Thomas wanted it. She said you were a danger." "A danger?" I laughed without humor. My brother and sister had signed away my father's life like it was a business deal. Samuel slid a sealed envelope toward me. "Your father gave this to me. He told me to keep it away from her." I opened it. Inside was a brass key taped to a card, and in my father's handwriting, "Trust no one. Find the safe." I stared at the words. "What safe?" I asked. Samuel shook his head. He never told me where it was, but he said that safe contained proof. Proof? My stomach twisted. Proof of what? Samuel leaned forward, voice low. "Evan, your father knew Vanessa was dangerous. He also knew Ryan and Lena were weak." I gripped the key. "So what do I do?" I asked. Samuel looked like he wanted to cry. "You don't confront her. Not yet. She's been waiting for you to explode." Then he added something that made my blood go cold. "She already asked me about you yesterday." I froze. "What?" Samuel nodded slowly. She knows you came here. Outside the window, the sky looked normal. Cars passed, people lived their lives. But inside my chest, everything screamed one word: war. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Vanessa's smile, Ryan's smirk, Lena's cold face, and my father's handwriting: "Find the safe." At 2 a.m., I drove to the house. No lights, no movement. I climbed the backyard fence like I was 12 again, sneaking in after curfew. I slipped through the basement window. The air smelled like dust and storage boxes. A house holds memories until someone tries to erase them. I moved quietly down the hallway to Dad's study. Vanessa had already changed it. New lamp, new rug, a fresh vase like she was decorating a crime scene. But Dad's desk was still there. I searched everything: drawers, bookshelves, behind frames, under the desk. Nothing. Then I noticed a thin scratch line near the fireplace. My breath caught. I pressed on it. A hidden wall panel shifted, and behind it, cold metal, was a safe built into the wall. My hands shook as I pulled out Samuel's brass key. I inserted it. It didn't turn. I tried again. Nothing. Wrong key. My heart slammed. Dad left me a key, but not the full key. I backed away, staring at the safe. Then I heard a sound upstairs. Footsteps. Someone was awake. I froze in the dark. Another step, then another. I didn't breathe. I slid the panel closed. As quietly as possible, I slipped out, returned to the basement window, and crawled outside. The cold night air hit my face like a slap. In my car, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, again. "She knows you were in the house." I stared at the screen. Then another message came. "If you open it, you die." My hands went numb. That wasn't a legal threat. That wasn't family drama. That was fear. Vanessa wasn't scared I'd take money. She was scared of what Dad had locked away. Whatever was in that safe, it could burn her entire life to the ground, and she would do anything to keep it buried. Vanessa didn't attack me with fists. She attacked my reputation. The next day, my boss called me into his office. His tone was careful, too careful. "Evan," he said, "we've received concerns." He slid printed screenshots across the desk. Someone had posted online, "Evan Whitmore is harassing a grieving widow. He's dangerous. He's unstable." They even dug up old college photos and twisted them into a story I barely recognized. I knew who did it. Ryan always understood one thing: if you can't beat someone, poison the room so nobody listens to them. That evening, a legal letter arrived at my apartment door. Cease and desist. Threats of restraining orders. Threats of a lawsuit. Vanessa's attorney's name at the bottom. I drove to the house immediately. Ryan met me at the door like he'd been waiting. "You're making this worse," he said. "I'm not the one forging Dad's signature," I snapped. Ryan's smile disappeared. He leaned close and whispered, "You keep digging, and you'll lose everything." Behind him, Lena appeared, arms crossed. "Evan, just stop," she said. "Why can't you just accept Dad didn't want you?" That sentence hit me like a bullet. Not because it was true, but because I realized she needed it to be true. If the will was fake, then she wasn't just a victim. She was an accomplice. Vanessa stepped forward, calm as a saint. "Oh, Evan, you're hurting yourself." Her voice sounded almost loving. But then Ryan said the line that made my stomach turn. "Stay away from the safe." I went still. My eyes locked on him. "How do you know about the safe?" I asked. Ryan's smirk returned. "Because," he said slowly, "Dad's secrets belong to us now." That's when I realized they didn't just want Dad's money. They wanted whatever proof he hid, and they were willing to destroy me to keep it buried. I needed someone who couldn't be bullied, so I called Kristen Hale. She and I went to law school together, and Kristen didn't scare easily. She scared other people. We met at a diner outside town, neutral ground, no cameras, no family spies. I told her everything: the will, the forgery, Samuel Ortega, the safe, the threats. Kristen listened with her jaw clenched. When I finished, she said, "Okay." Just one word. Then she pulled out her laptop and started typing like it was war. Notary records, hospital logs, witness names, court filings. 2 days later, she called me, voice low. "Evan, your father's estate is bigger than anyone's saying." "How much?" I asked. Kristen exhaled. "Between 12 and 15 million, she said. "Maybe more." My throat tightened. That explained Vanessa's obsession. That explained Ryan's loyalty. That explained Lena's silence. Kristen continued. "Vanessa filed new documents that contradict older ones," she said, "and those older documents disappeared. Disappeared, like they were burned." Kristen leaned in close when we met again. "We're taking this to probate court," she said, "but listen carefully." "What?" "Motive won't win," she said. "The judge needs hard proof." I held up Samuel's brass key. Kristen stared at it. "That safe," she whispered, "is the only thing that can save you." Then she paused. "And Evan, if they're threatening you, it means that safe doesn't just contain money proof." "What else could it contain?" Kristen's eyes hardened. "It could contain a confession," she said. "Or something criminal." Criminal. My blood ran cold. Dad didn't just hide an inheritance. He hid a weapon. The probate hearing arrived fast. Vanessa walked in dressed in white like she was innocence itself. Ryan wore a clean suit. Lena clutched tissues like a prop. Kristen sat beside me, calm as stone. Vanessa's attorney spoke first. "Thomas Whitmore updated his will legally," he said. "His son is acting out of grief and jealousy." Jealousy again. Ryan testified with confidence. "He was unstable," Ryan claimed. "Dad couldn't trust him." Lena cried softly and nodded. Then Vanessa stood. Her voice trembled perfectly. "I loved Thomas," she said. "I just want peace." Peace. Kristen stood and presented evidence: the signature inconsistencies, the hospital timeline, Samuel's statements. The judge listened, frowning, but Vanessa's lawyer struck back. "Where is your smoking gun?" he demanded. "Where is the undeniable proof?" Kristen didn't flinch. "Your Honor," she said, "we believe key documents are being hidden." The judge leaned forward. "Belief isn't evidence," he said. "I'm granting a delay. Bring hard proof next hearing, or this will stands." Vanessa smiled, just slightly. As court ended, she walked past me and whispered, "You can't win against blood." I stared at her. Then I whispered back, "Watch me." Because I knew something she didn't. Dad didn't leave me nothing. He left me a puzzle, and puzzles always have an answer. That night, Kristen called me. "They're selling the house," she said. I sat up. "What?" Kristen sounded furious. "Vanessa filed paperwork," she said. "She's liquidating assets. She's trying to cash out before the next hearing." My stomach dropped. If the house sold, the safe would be ripped out. Whatever proof was inside would disappear forever. Then another text hit my phone. Unknown number. "Last warning. Walk away." I stared at the screen. Vanessa wasn't warning me. She was panicking. I drove to the house immediately, 2 a.m. I slipped inside through the basement again, my heart hammered. Dad's study felt colder than before. I opened the hidden panel. The safe stared back at me. I tried the brass key again, even though I knew it wouldn't work. Nothing. Then my eyes landed on something I had missed every time. A tiny symbol engraved beside the lock. A star. My breath caught. I had seen that symbol. I pulled out Dad's watch and flipped it over. A matching star. The watch wasn't just sentimental. It was designed. A tool. My hands shook. I twisted the crown slowly. Something shifted inside. A tiny hidden metal pin slid out from the side. I stared at it. Dad left me a second key inside the watch, and suddenly I understood why he wanted me to wait. He wanted me to open the safe when they thought they'd already won, when they'd already lied, so the truth would hit like a bomb.
The next morning, Kristen met me in the courthouse parking lot. "We go back in today," she said. "If we don't bring proof, you lose everything." I nodded. "I have proof," I said. Kristen looked at me sharply. "You better not be guessing." I pulled out the watch and showed her the hidden pin. Her eyes widened. "You're kidding," she whispered. We drove to the house in daylight, not hiding anymore. Kristen had already filed emergency paperwork to block the sale and preserve evidence. Vanessa wasn't there. Ryan was. He opened the door and froze when he saw Kristen. "What is this?" he snapped. Kristen stepped forward. "Probate counsel," she said. "Move aside." Ryan tried to block us. "This is my house." Kristen didn't blink. "It's under court jurisdiction," she said. "Interfere and you'll be charged." Ryan backed off, face red. Inside Dad's study, I opened the hidden panel. Kristen's eyes widened when she saw the safe. "This is real," she whispered. I inserted Samuel's brass key into a second tiny slot I hadn't noticed before. Then I inserted Samuel's brass key into the main lock. Kristen held her breath. My fingers tightened, but I didn't turn yet. Not yet. Because I wanted them present. I wanted Vanessa to hear it. I wanted Ryan to see it. And I wanted Lena to understand the price of betrayal. Kristen called the court clerk and arranged an immediate supervised review. Then she looked at me. "Evan," she said softly, "once you open it, there's no going back." I nodded. "I know." Because this wasn't just about inheritance anymore. This was about my father's last message to the world, and I was finally ready to hear it. Vanessa arrived furious. Not sad, not grieving, furious. She stormed into the study like she still owned the air. "What is this?" she shouted. Ryan stood behind her, tense. Lena appeared last, face pale like she already knew what was coming. Kristen stepped forward, calm. "Court-supervised evidence review," Kristen said. "Your sale is halted." Vanessa's eyes burned. "This is harassment," she snapped. "Evan is mentally unstable." The judge's clerk, present on speaker, confirmed. "Proceed with opening. Document contents immediately." Vanessa's face twisted. "No," she whispered. That single word proved everything. I placed my hand on the safe. 2 keys, 2 locks. I inserted the watch pen. Then I turned the brass key. Click. The safe opened. Inside were 3 things. 1, an original notarized will dated before Vanessa's version. 2, a thick folder labeled Fraud, Vanessa, Ryan, Lena, and a USB drive labeled Video, If I'm Gone. Kristen grabbed the will first, scanning fast. "Oh my God," she whispered. "This is the real one." Vanessa lunged forward. "No!" Kristen blocked her.
Then I plugged the USB into Kristen's laptop. The screen lit up. My father appeared, thin, pale, but clear-eyed. "If you're watching this," Dad said, "I'm already gone. Vanessa has forced her way into my life and tried to rewrite my death." Vanessa went still like she'd been shot. Dad continued, "I did not change my will willingly. I was pressured while medicated. Ryan and Lena witnessed the documents for her. Samuel Ortega protected the first key. Evan has the watch, the second key." Ryan's face drained. Lena started shaking. Dad looked into the camera like he was staring straight at them. "If my children betray their blood for her, then they betray me too." Vanessa screamed, "Turn it off!" Kristen turned the laptop slightly so everyone could see. Dad held up a paper. "I recorded Vanessa threatening my accountant. I recorded her telling Ryan and Lena we would own everything if they helped." Kristen opened the fraud folder. Bank transfers, notary bribes, medical coercion, even emails showing Vanessa planned to sell the house quickly to destroy the safe. Kristen's voice turned ice cold. "This is criminal fraud, forgery, elder abuse, estate theft." Vanessa's legs wobbled. Ryan looked at Lena like he couldn't breathe. Lena whispered, "Mom, what did we do?" Vanessa snapped back at her, "Shut up!" That's when Lena finally understood. She was never loved. She was used. Kristen dialed the investigator assigned to probate fraud cases. Within an hour, Vanessa was escorted out, not as a widow, as a suspect. Ryan collapsed into a chair, hands over his face. Lena cried like a child. I didn't celebrate. I just stared at my father's image on the screen and whispered, "I heard you, Dad." Weeks later, the court restored the real will. Vanessa lost everything. Ryan and Lena faced legal consequences, and the house they tried to steal, remained in the Whitmore name. Mine. On the day I moved back in, I sat in my father's study, watching sunlight hit the desk. I placed his watch on the table and finally felt something I hadn't since Tuesday. Peace. The real kind.